K-pop is the #1 sector that comes to people's minds when asked about the Korean wave or Hallyu. In today's Hallyu People segment, we meet with a person who is deeply involved in the K-pop scene, and we'll talk about Korean pop music, its global impact, and more. So let's meet Paul Thompson, a K-pop producer and songwriter who is behind numerous hit songs by well-known K-pop artists. And he's also known as MZMC, the founder and CEO of MZMC Inc. Welcome, Paul.
Hello, Paul.
Hi, nice to meet you. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining us on the program. Now, first of all, why don't we start with a brief introduction of yourself for the Kulture Wave viewers?
Okay, my name is Paul. I'm a songwriter, producer. I'm from California originally, and then I moved out to Korea in, I think, early 2013. And I've been here ever since, and working on K-pop and building kind of my own company and things like that.
Yeah. Right. And Paul, you have been behind more than 100 K-pop songs. Yeah. So could you please introduce us to a few of them, maybe some that are very meaningful to you, and also which K-pop artists have you worked with?
So I spent a lot of my career working with SM Entertainment. Mm-hmm. And I'm most well known, or my music is mostly associated with EXO. Mm-hmm. So I did a lot of their bigger songs, like a song called Love Shot, a song called Tempo, Coco Bop, Dancing King, which is a song with Yoo and EXO. But I also did a lot with NCT as well. I did their debut song, 7 Cents, and worked on Cherry Bomb and a lot of that. So the majority of my career has been working with SM Entertainment artists, but I've also worked with other groups like The Boys, and Kang Daniel. I did a lot of work for Kang Daniel and things like that. So yeah, I've done a lot.
Wow. I think everyone who's interested in K-pop, these names that you mentioned says a lot to them.
Right.
And I particularly like the song by Jisoo, Love Me Again. I think that was one that you put a lot of efforts in, right?
Yeah, I haven't heard anyone say that in such a long time. That was one of the first K-pop songs I ever did. I originally worked for JYP Entertainment, right, and Jisoo was there, and we wrote that song in my apartment. That a long time ago. That's 2014. And yeah, that was one of the first things. I think that was the second K-pop song that ever got released that I did.
Well, that shows how long I've been into K-pop or how old I am.
No.
Definitely a lot of big names there, and the songs, you've mentioned, I'm sure many viewers, and including myself and you, of course, will know the songs. And now you have been in this Korean K-pop industry for now over 10 years, worked with JYP Entertainment and also SM Entertainment, working with big names. How did it all start? Please tell us about your journey, all the way through K-pop industry.
Okay, it's the most random story ever because I was in the United States, and I was a songwriter back there, but I didn't gain too much success in LA. And then I moved back to my hometown area of San Francisco and was just working in a different industry. I decided to move to Korea to become an English teacher. Mm-hmm. So I came out to be an English teacher, but after about 6 months, I was cast by JYP Music Publishing, which is basically like songwriter management. They heard some of my old music. So then they signed me, and I started writing music for JYP, but I didn't really know how to write K-pop, so I wasn't very good at it. And then I worked with Jisoo, and that was really the only artist I had any success with at JYP. But then eventually I moved over, after about 2 years, I moved over to SM Entertainment, and that's kind of where my career kind of blossomed from there. Mm-hmm. And then about 2019, I left SM Entertainment, started my own company, and then I started kind of working for other companies on a kind of consulting basis. Mm-hmm. And then I started developing my own artists and things like that. And that's where we are now.
Amazing. You never know how life turns out. One day you're in the US, the next day you're in Korea, one day you're a teacher, and now you're a K-pop producer.
Yeah, I was only supposed to be here for 1 year.
Oh, and
really?
Now it turns out you're here for like 13 years.
13 years, yeah. 13, 1 year just kept going, now
you
it's 13.
Definitely don't know.
Well, we're glad that you are here for that long time and have been producing these great songs. Now, let's talk a little bit more about K-pop. Mm-hmm. So, speaking as an expert, what are the unique characteristics of K-pop? You can talk about the musical aspects such as lyrics or the rhythm or the melody. Could you tell us more about it?
I think I like to split K-pop into kind of 2 categories, which is idol music, which is the groups, and then just Korean music, which is what I would consider like IU, which is just Korean music, not in the idol form, right? And so I've worked primarily in the idol world. And so the unique aspects of that are, because it's a group, you have to construct a song keeping in mind all of those members and all of the skills and parts of the song that they need to contribute to. So that means that songs tend to be a little bit longer in terms of length, and they also have more sections to them.
Right.
You're going to have very distinct parts. If they have a rapper, you're going to have a distinct rap section. You're going to have a distinct high melody section that's going to be for the singer. You want a more danceable section for the lead dancer and things like that. So you always have to think about that. You also have to think about the vocal range is going to be very different, because there's, you know, some groups have 9 members or they have 5 members, and so you have to be cognizant of where you're putting your melodies and how you're writing your melodies. And I think just in general, because K-pop is so specifically focused on the performance aspect and the choreography aspect, you have to make music that's danceable. If you can't make music that's danceable, I mean, not everything is a dance song, but for the most part, all the titles or the singles, they have to have some danceable element to it. So it's going to be a little bit more up-tempo, a little bit more fun.
And there has to be always that catchy part, right?
Of course, yeah. You have to have that. They have a word in Korean, and I'm going to pronounce it wrong. It's like bong or something like that. JY used to tell me about it, but it's like you have to have this moment where it just kind of explodes, and that's the part that everybody remembers, which is common in lots of music, but specifically in K-pop, it has to have that element.
Right.
And so, yeah, we try to put that in our music.
Wow, a lot of characteristics that, you know, we didn't even know about, you know, things to consider with the members and the parts. What do you think, you know, working in this K-pop industry for now over 10 years, what sets K-pop apart from other musics, you know? What do you think, why do you think K-pop is, you know, so popular these days globally, right? So what do you think, you know, contributes to gaining that popularity?
I think K-pop, what makes it specifically unique in this time of music is it's a spectacle. So everything about it is big, right? From the outfits, from the styling to the music video production is very, very high quality. And we're in a day and age in music where Western labels do not want to spend money, whereas K-pop labels want to spend money and show this kind of spectacle. It's about the performance aspect of it, and you have the fandom aspects too, which is really, really important in K-pop. And so when you add all that, it's something that doesn't really exist. It used to exist in other kind of forms of music, but it doesn't really exist anymore. This kind of just doing things big and beautiful and unique. And so I think that's kind of what people are attracted to. It's its own thing. So.
Now, Paul, since you've been in this industry now for such a long time, it's not just about the music. We see you're an expert in the groups as a whole as well. And I hear that your label is actually preparing to debut a girl group. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yes, I've been preparing a girl group for about 5 years.
Wow.
This specific group, which is, they're called VVS, they haven't debuted yet. They debut April 22nd. And then their debut album is May 19th. But yeah, so I've been developing these specific girls for about 3 years. And just one day I decided, I was doing music for everyone else. And I was kind of, when you work for someone, you have to do what they want, right? Which is fine, which is great. And then after a while I said, there's types of music I want to do and I want to hear. And so it's like, I got to do it myself. If I don't do it myself, I won't be able to actually show the world where I think K-pop can go. And so I did it. And so now it's been a long process, and we're about a month away from debut.
April 22nd.
April 22nd.
Marking the calendar.
And in May, you said the
19th?
full album is coming out?
Their first mini album comes
Nice.
May 19th, and then their debut title comes April 22nd.
Wow, looking forward to that group.
Yeah.
VVS, you said?
VVS.
Okay.
VVS.
Yes.
We'll keep an eye out for that for sure. And there's also existing so-called, you know, localized K-pop groups like Need You and Cat's Eye as well. What do you think about this, you know, adaptation of Korean Idol training system, you know, abroad?
That's an interesting question, because I've always gone back and forth on this. I think the K-pop system works very well for K-pop, and I think that in certain cultures it'll work, and in certain cultures it'll be a little bit more difficult to adapt. But I do think that Cat's Eye and Need You are good examples of it working, of it being implemented very well, and I think there's going to be more of that in the future. But we'll see. Well, I mean, we'll see. It's a very unique system, and it was obviously developed in Korea. So Obviously, there's going to be some cultural aspects of that that are very important to keep, and so we'll see how it works in other cultures. Yeah.
And also, Paul, speaking of the future, where do you see the K-pop business in a decade from now?
Ooh, decade.
A decade. I actually think it's being split into two sides, which is music that is specifically made for the Korean general public, and then music that is specifically made for more of the Western audiences. Like you can see the Blackpink members, but there is some overlap there, and I think that split is just going to get wider and wider, but not in a negative sense, but just in it'll just grow into more forms of K-pop. If that makes sense, and there'll be more choices for people to make, and there's different versions of it. I think it'll be really cool. And that's why I really like what's going on with like the Blackpink members and BTS before that. It leads the way for other opportunities, but I also think that stuff that's going on in Korea is really awesome too. So.
And we hope that you're going to be contributing to that K-pop industry in the years to come. Well, thank you very much, Paul, for sharing your story today. It was really fun. And once VVS debuts, maybe they could join us on the show someday as well.
Sure.
Yeah, that would be great. I have a couple English speakers on.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Paul, for today.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you, Bella. As always, we're going to see you back here tomorrow.
Yes, I'll see you back tomorrow.